Hey, IDEA5, we are moving along. Today, what we're going to talk about is more negativity. Enough with the negativity. I know. I'm getting tired of it too, but this is the good stuff. So we've talked about bullets and we've talked about negative phrases and negative this and negative that, blah, 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 blah. And that's all kind of gross and therapeutic and cathartic and all of that kind of stuff. But what are we going to talk about now? Well, the negative space in creating or drawing or interpreting or any of those kinds of things, or fonts. Just negative space is what allows us to have positive space. There's like a yin yang balance there. A lot of times you say draw a pear, draw a bike, draw a chair, draw a person, and we focus in on what we're supposed to be drawing or seeing or being, or that kind of thing. And a lot of times we miss out on the background information that is as important, maybe more important sometimes. So today we've got a bunch of negative space activities to do, exercises that are going to help you look around the subject and kind of see this stuff outside of the foreground. So maybe to put this in context, the unappreciated stuff, maybe negative space is the mom, and the positive space is the kid. I don't know why they call it negative positive space, but negative space is, in definition, it's just space around the foreground or the space around the positive space. You can't have positive space without creating negative space. You can't have negative space without creating a positive space. So we're going to do a couple quick exercises. First, in completing the task, I'm going to get you to find a magazine page or a photograph. And what I want you to do is take a black Sharpie marker, and you have to sort of click something off in your brain, and I want you to just focus on positive space. You can see the two examples on the idea page. What I ended up with was sort of this. This was a chair and kind of some stuff, and it looks so neat. And it takes a minute for you to stop going, okay, I'm not outlining a chair or car or whatever it is. I'm outlining the space around it. So have some fun with that one. Do it a couple of times. Magazine ads are sometimes more difficult to find something sort of challenging because it's usually just white negative space, because they just want you to see the foreground, the positive space. They just want you to do that. So photographs are sometimes a little bit more challenging because it's sort of, the line is blurred. How much of this is positive? How much of this is negative? And it's up to you. You're the expert. Interpret. Number 2 on completing the task, there's a little bar graph. It looks like a little strip of 10 squares. We're going to work on some technique and some craft. We're going to get away from some of our bullets and that kind of stuff. Let's put our technique and craft to work. So pick a pencil crayon, or a pencil, or it could even be a pen, but try to work with something chalky, pencil-y, that kind of thing. On square number 1, it's a 0%. So that is going to be, I always think of mixing paint or saturation and stuff like that. I always think of that like chocolate milk. So on space number 1, where it says 0%, there is 0% chocolate milk added. Chocolate milk syrup added to milk. In the next square, it says 10%. So we're going to color lightly with our pencil crayon or our pencil or whatever it is you're using. Color ever so lightly and carefully and smoothly in that first square to make it represent 10% saturation. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. On 100% side, it would just be pure chocolate syrup or like the full amount of color. I don't know why I go back to chocolate syrup when I think of these gradations, but that's what I do. What is this exercise for? It's just for getting us used to creating some tone, getting you used to practicing. You can make really pretty stuff actually out of this. And what I need you to do after you've done your squares is sort of blur your eyes and take a look. You'll be able to see if there's any spots that stand out, or if there's, sort of glaring holes, if maybe it looks like it's all the same color and then dark. Just sort of check in with yourself on that gradation. So I like doing these. Once you've completed one of these, you might want to try, sometimes you can go from, using a blue pencil crayon, use a blue gradation instead of black, or start with 100% blue and go backwards, and 100% purple and go the other way. You can kind of do a bunch of different things, but it's really just a technical exercise to get you to know your pencil crayons or your chalk or your pencil, whatever you're working on, just to work on those gradations. Think of it as scales for the piano or violin or whatever it is you play. On the ready, set, create, what I'm going to get you to do is sit yourself down somewhere where you can see a shadow of a tree. Trees work really well, or building, or something with a little bit more detail. I would recommend a tree. I would fully and wholly recommend a tree. What I want you to do is take a look at the shadow that the tree is making, and I want you to draw the light spots, not the dark spots. So the light spots would be in the shadow of the tree, the negative space, right? So I want you to just pick out those little teardrop shapes, those triangles, all the different little shapes of negative space, and put them where they're supposed to be. Use whatever color medium you want. It's easiest to work in black and white, but it doesn't have to be. And when you get all your negative spaces all lined up, you'll step back from it and notice that your spaces in between create a tree. So we're kind of reversing here. We're focusing in on the negative space and drawing those and creating positive space by default. If that makes any sense, do a little bit of something extra. I want you to just do the same thing, but I'd love for you to draw a chair. It doesn't have to be a chair. It could be any still life, but chairs have really neat negative spaces created by the spindles. So you're just going to focus in on negative space again. I would draw the chair just a little bit bigger than your canvas so that your negative space cuts off. There's an example in that idea book as well. And then on the Bulletproof Positive Attitude exercise, what I want you to do, we've identified so many negatives. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I don't have time. Oh, I'm not trained. Oh, I don't have the right tools. Blah, 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 blah. When you feel one of those start to set in, when you feel sort of some of that like, uncomfortable, I don't know what I'm doing, I want you to just slam it down with a positive thought. You know, yes, I can. What if it's awesome? Let's do this. I'm great. I can do this. You can do this. You're the expert at your own interpretations and, all of those kinds of things. So the key here with those cutting it off at the pass kind of switcheroos is you don't wait until you've already said, oh, I can't do this, and then try to fight with yourself with a positive affirmation. It's right when you feel that I can do this. What if it's awesome? What if it's awesome? Just sort of the interrupting thing from that Saturday Night Live or whatever it was. So that is idea 5. We are really going to focus in on negative and see how the negative actually shapes our positive. So it's a bit of a back and forth, bit of a stretch, bit of a change of perspective, but you can do it, and that's it. Go.